I hope you're having a beautiful day. Good morning. And today, what we're going to be doing is focusing in directly on a groundbreaking skill to be able to create, to be able to do this every single week, no matter what project you're focused on right now, or whatever skill you're trying to develop. This is something you'll come back to every single day, every week, every month, and you need to be able to create it. You need to be able to turn it on when you need to recalibrate. And that, my friends, is this incredible skill. It's called clarity and seeking clarity. And today, what I want to do is I want to dive right into knocking out 6 core things that you can do immediately to start building clarity on any projects, no matter your discipline. So let's dive right into it. So, first thing that we're going to dive into is first grab a piece of paper or something that you can write with. If you don't have a piece of paper, then you can obviously use the platform. Like if here, let me just share my screen really quick and I'll navigate you just so you know that you can open up a new window. You go to nextlevelux.me and you might be in the workshop right now where about to be talking about clarity. We're going to dive right into that. If you wanted to watch last week's session again, you can always go back and watch the last replays. Otherwise, you can come to the dashboard and scroll down and you can be adding in, for example, today we're going to be focused on clarity and I can just add a task there. It's going to show up in the very bottom. I can add more description, like add more notes to it. So we're going to focus on the big six today. And then I'm just going to save it. And then what I can do from there, because we built a platform around this, you can come over to learn, scroll down to clarity, and know that we are focused on this specific topic. So this week I'll put my replay right here. And then if you want to be able to go deeper on building clarity and doing the homework and the assignments there, then I'd highly encourage you to do it. Otherwise, you're going to get to do it live with me right now. So let's first begin. So you can take notes there, and I'll just stop sharing here and then come right back to you. So number one thing that you can do to start building clarity, you got to be able to define it, got to be able to write it, got to be able to start envisioning what it is that you want. And that, my friends, is purpose. Yes, number one is purpose. So when you start thinking about purpose, the first thing that you can do is literally write in a circle and then write the word purpose inside and start drawing little lines across of what are you really striving for right now. And it could be that you want to support your family better. It could be that you want to be a better athlete. It could be that you want to build a business that can contribute to some topic or some industry that's really important to you. And for me right now, it's still fitness, it's still sports, it's still helping my son, it's helping us build a homestead, growing food, uh, building abundance, helping a lot of people. That's my purpose. And I can come back to that every single day. And then I know that I need that purpose because it helps fuel and drive me and excites me into taking on the day. So that's number one. Hope that's super helpful. So, what do you got to do? You got to start writing down, journal about, well, what is your purpose? How would you write about it? Don't overthink it, just do it. All right. Number two is something that's also very important because it helps you align and calibrate how you're spending your time every week. And remember, I said every day, every week, every month, you have these projects or milestones that you're working towards, and you got to be able to understand the priorities of all of those things. So priorities is number two. Why do we need priorities? Because you probably have a long list of things that are really important to you, and you got to be able to work through the priority list, and you got to be able to do it fast and efficiently. So you can check points at the beginning of the week, at the end of the week. Make sure you have a list of priorities heading into the week. That means doing it Sunday, having the priorities ready, and then executing those all the way to the next Friday of the week, and then documenting what you got done and what you didn't get done. So priorities are very important. If you have purpose and you have priorities, now we have two P's and we're two peas in a pod and we're able to start moving the needle a little bit further, faster, and better now. So we have these two important things, right? We know they're important, but we don't practice them. We don't write them down. So that's why we have a platform here that you can just write them down, get focused, get aimed. Number three, and these are building blocks, right? We're building a system here, we're building the big six. And you're like, Drew, what were we talking about today? The big six. We have two P's already. And then the third one, and we're talking about that third P, which is Problems. Number three is problems. What are the problems that you have in your life or the problems that you want to tackle and take on? So, oftentimes in the UX industry, we are thinking about problems we want to solve and the problems that we're experiencing around us and being aware of those things like an investigator and being like, well, this is a problem right now. We got to turn that problem into an opportunity. And how do we do that? Well, we might reframe a problem into an opportunity by saying, this is a problem right now. Like, I don't have enough time to do this, or I keep finding myself aimed and directed at this other thing. Let's take that problem, separate it from yourself, and then reframe it into an opportunity. Now that we know this is happening, how might we come up with some ideas or some other solutions or other things that we can test to stop doing the thing or to work on that problem? And in UX, you might build a website, you might try something completely new. You can pretty much do anything you want once you build the skills on how to kind of work through these problems. So right now we have purpose, we have priorities, and we have problems. And we've reframed the problems. Okay, great. So now that we have these three core things for building clarity, now we have these three underlying foundational elements that you also need to layer in. So we're building a system here, right? Take it serious. All right, number four. Number four, most important thing, we need to start building up our identity. Our identity is who we are and how we are embodying and showing up in the world. And, when you think about your identity, what do you think about? Do you think of a confident, courageous entrepreneur? Do you think of a, enthusiastic, motivated athlete? Are you thinking of like you're a creator and you're a very creative creator trying to share your work and your art with the world? Whatever it is, how would you define and write out your identity? You can do it, it's very simple by just like picking a couple words that define who you are and writing those words out. You can do that in the platform, set them as a reminder so you see them every day. But setting the precedent of who you are and your identity helps you live in your identity. If you don't know who you are, it's easy to kind of merge into a different route. We were talking about this last week with social media and how social media can really direct you and you can consume it, but you're not really like a builder or creating your output. So we want to be able to be output driven versus input driven, like consumer driven. So your identity can help. All right. Number five, very important part, not only having identity and how you show up, it's how you decide to interact. Interactions with other people, other companies, your family, your friends, your teammates, your collaborators, your coaches. How do you interact with them? And how do you stay super laser focused on those interaction experiences you want to have? Like you want to be genuine, you want to be authentic, you want to be encouraging, empowering, you want to be enthusiastic, you want to be aimed, focused, dedicated, directed. Like whatever it is, you got to write it out and you got to clearly define how you want to interact with other people. That way, when you show up and you engage with these people, you're a little bit more intentional and you're a little bit more aware of how you're going to show up. And that leads us to our last topic, which is success. Success is so important in thinking and envisioning the outcome that you're actually shooting for. So if you can identify success for any project you take on, any initiative, any vacation, anything that you're trying to like train in and level up, then you can start building the path and building the bricks row by row on how you can get to that success. So very simple framework, call it the big six. You can post-it notes to train yourself: purpose, priorities, problems, identity, interactions, and success. So you know what these things are. You have them. We can get rid of all these post-it notes. We don't need them anymore. We can throw them away or we can pick them up later. But now that you have these six core things, what do you do with them? How do you take these things and start building? Now let's actually shift over into a tool that I use every single day. It's called Figma. And we're going to start mapping this out a little bit further. And we're going to be here for the full hour. You can put questions in the chat and you can start to work yourself a plan and a strategy. So, first question in, how do we stack together purpose, identity, and interaction? Well, let's first document them first, and then we can start stacking them and looking at them together. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to head over to Figma, and you should be able to see my screen. All right. So this is Figma. Figma is a really powerful tool. It allows you to basically visualize anything that you want to visualize. It's a very extensible live editing screen design tool. All right. So now that you see it, so the question was, how do we stack the purpose, identity, and intention and interactions together? First, we have to be able to document these things, right? So our purpose, our priorities, our opportunities, our identity, our interactions, and success. So what you can do first is start outlining and thinking about, well, what is my purpose? My purpose was family, sport, fitness, wellness, excellence. Like things that I really care about. And so what would yours be? Like write them out and do them like right now. Like don't wait, don't just sit there and watch. Like do this actually with me right now. So family, sport, fitness, excellence. All right. I'm going to copy this and move it over to my priorities. When I think about my purpose and the things that I actually like, this is kind of the order of my priorities. So I have family, sports, and what I would actually add on here is my team. I would have over in industries. So my priorities kind of go right here. I got my family, sport, fitness. So I got my priorities. Great. Now let's line over the opportunities. Now you can already start to see there's going to be overlap in between different things. If you don't ever document it, there's no way for you to know. If you don't understand the systems around you, then how are you supposed to actually improve them? So we got opportunities. And let's just say A, B, C. Now, what are some opportunities in my mind? Well, the first one is I need to have more conversations with literally everything that's in my column in my priorities in my P there. So I need to have more conversations. And not just any conversation. I'm gonna say more meaningful conversations. All right. B, I'm going to engage local, state, and federal. So I want to go to the local communities, the federal communities, and the state communities. What are all the communities that exist in those areas? I'm talking the government, I'm talking the NCAA, I'm talking the other sports and training facilities that help nurture the growth of our youth. I need to go meet all those people. So those are some opportunities for me. Or C, engage with old teammates. I worked with some incredible people in my career and I need to talk to them. It's been a while, right? We've been busy, we've been focused, we've been creating. Building Growth Day last 5 years, massive, massive product platform and just getting into personal development. But before that, I was in the design industry. I was helping develop and train and coach. And then also before that, I was in people performance and more personal development with Facebook. So I need to establish those friendships, those connections with people that I worked for. Because when you're not literally in the office, you don't get to talk to those people so often. So that's an opportunity for me. So think about your opportunities so far. Okay. So now we got purpose. We got the alignment of our opportunities. Now, when I was talking about getting this identity, right, we're getting so laser focused here. My identity, I want to be associated with excellence. I want to be associated with communication, with collaboration, with dedication, with ambition, boldness, courage. All right. So those are some things that I want to embody in my energy. Now I want to go over to my interactions and I want to be supportive and I want to anticipate. So I guess that would be probably more of a success is anticipating the next move, anticipation and supportive. Let's see interactions. What's my interactions? I want to be supportive. I want to be organized, prepared. There, I'll zoom in a little bit for you. I want to be prepared. I want to have anticipation. I want to be ready. I want to be scheduled. Success has been being scheduled. A amplifier. All right, so I got my overlap. I got my elements here. Okay, so I'm clear on what I need to do. We've already been building, and let me here get this out of the way. There you go. So you understand your big six. So now, how do you start overlapping these things together? Now, what you got to do that you have this, we're going to look at the windows of time. All projects in all lifetime, you put a time restraint or you put certain restraints on them, right? So if we're going to do this, we're going to look at the day, we're going to look at the week, and we're going to look at the month. And because we're bold and ambitious, we're going to look at the year. All right, so I'm gonna group these and then I'm gonna space them out properly. So in Figma, you can organize all this intention. I want to do this one, distribute equally. So now they're equally apart. And then I'll draw little lines here to just embody that we're connected in these growth moments from our daily efforts into our weekly efforts. It's so important to see these systems. Once you understand these systems, you can start building more confidence in how you're just creating and showing up. So now that you understand your monthly, your weekly, and your yearly advancements, now you got to start thinking about how these things overlap. But before you just start tackling your day or tackling your week and start thinking about all the things that you have to deal with and design and plan for the next year, you got to start getting some foundational systems underneath your operating like schedule and the days. So there's this things that we were talking about last week with your tools, people, and systems. And one of them was having incredible schedules. These are things that you need to kind of have an operating system underneath. And then you'll know how to fill in the blanks for your days, your weeks, your months, and your years. So your schedules, we have systems, we have rituals, we have routines. And I love Figma just because you can kind of visualize complexity, right? So we have these elements, and let me just ungroup these. I'm going to group them individually, and then I'm going to even space them out evenly. So over in the right sidebar, there is an auto layout tool. An auto layout allows you to put specific pixel distance between different things. So like right now, it was automatically set to 15. So I'm going to set it to 24. Not 124. Let's just do 24. And then we have our other elements here. For example, your month, and I'll just group these as well so you can see how kind of cool this is. So once it's grouped, oops. So I group these. Okay, so we have the day, week, month, year, and then we have our schedule systems. So these basic operating systems down below, like what does your schedule look like? What do your systems look like? What do your rituals look like? Your routines? Let's just quickly break down what they are. I know you kind of know what they are, but if you've never set them up, you can't put them on repeat, right? So this week's main focus is clarity. So overall, we're building clarity about how we want to operate and design our lifestyle, design our creative abilities, design homeschool, design learning school, basically what we choose to do every single day. Now you probably have an office or a day job or something that you have to do to collect a revenue stream that's going to allow you to sustain whatever it is that you want to do, whatever you want to build. But what we're doing is we're wrapping a lifestyle choice around it. And the first one is what you decide to put into your Monday through Sunday window. So the window of time between what you can do and accomplish in a day versus what you can accomplish in a week, astronomical, right? You're having compound effects by going even to this training. You're building on skills every single week for the next 12 weeks. And as you get to that level of maturity where you understand what's possible and understand what you can see, the whole world will open up to you because there's a lot more opportunities than what you even known because you're now aware. It's kind of like a secret agent. Like you're getting exposed to more information. You're understanding how to look at the world in a different light and see more opportunities in front of you because you're designing these things. So we're just breaking down those systems so that you can do them yourself. So from a day perspective, if you think about your morning and evening, now in the product experience, I've added morning and evening because I think it is important for you as you create. And that says I've worked in personal development and people development. It is important to establish ebb and flow and rhythms and routine in the flow through the day. So as you start working through your days, you have things that you accomplish in the morning, you have things that you accomplish in the evening. Like even Ed Milet, he coaches and teaches on Growth Day. He does Monday motivations every single week in the platform. And he has like 3 days where he has these blocks, windows of time, 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours, and he has these certain windows of time where he almost has 3 days inside of one day. So if you had 3 days inside of one day, and it typically maybe takes you, 2, 3 weeks to do a project, and now you're starting completing it, say like in less, a 3 week project, maybe you're doing it in a week, not because you're rushing and stressing out and just working 24 hours a day. You're just being a lot more prolific when you do show up. And that's also something that we're going to end up doing, right? We're going to try to do that as well with you. So we have morning and evening sections of things that we do. That's why it's important to know. In the morning, I typically have, I don't know what your schedule looks like, but you might be heavy in meetings in the morning, and then you have a whole afternoon block of time, 2, 3, 4 hours to go create, to make something where you're uninterrupted. It's not like you're not driving to different things. You're very scheduled and calculated for how you're organizing your day. This is going to help you save time. This is going to help you be responsible with your energy. It's also going to help your kids and your family see how you can operate at a higher level because you're planned, you're scheduled, you're organized. So as you think through your morning and evening, think about the windows of time that you actually do things that are needle moving. And we want to be able to cycle those things on a daily basis. And if we can align the things that we do right here, like everything we do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis with everything that happens above this section. So let me just make this lower opacity. So everything in this window where we're thinking family, sports, fitness, wellness, excellence, creativity, family, sport, all the things that we're doing with the intention and the clarity of what I am trying to do. If you don't have this, then you can journal and reflect. And that's also why we have that in the platform. So you can do that around your creative energy. Then you can have way better focus on these big 6 items. But if we come back here, we have this because we're building complexity on top of this. So we have the day and the morning and the evening. Now we need to start thinking about, okay, well, in my schedule, auditing your week, figuring out what you do morning and night. Then we want to see, well, what systems do I need to support what I'm creating? And remember, people support what they create. So if I can support the people that create the products and services, I can support the systems that support the people that create and build, and we're all doing that together, then I have a triad effect. We have the people, systems, and tooling. Once those are like, there's a foundational piece of those that are working. So we're going to align what we're doing with our days, then with our weeks. So some things that I really like to think about is at the beginning of the week and the end of the week. So these are like windows of time. So at the beginning of the week, I like to be very organized with what I'm going to be doing, who I'm going to be meeting with, my calendars booked. What are the things that I'm going to be pushing forward on this week? Having those in place, very important thing to do. Now, at the beginning of the week, so I'm heading in, but what do I do at the end of the week to be able to make sure that I actually won the week? Well, I need to be able to have an incredible status update that I can have not only for what it is that I'm building in my companies, but also what I am like how I'm living my life. Like, what are the 5 things that I could be asking? What are the things I accomplished? What were some of the roadblocks or challenges that I faced this week? Who did I reach out to, or who do I need to reach out to next week to finish the thing that I was trying to start? You can just ask them big questions, make sure you answer them every week, and then you can measure that over a whole year's lifespan in a Google Doc, and then just let Claude Code or let ChatGPT or let some other tools read like your progress and give you feedback on how you can get better. You can do that inside the platform with the AI. It's called Pro inside the tool. You can do that, but you could also just make sure that you start building the muscle to document and create a status update in general. And I can give you questions to ask if you don't have them. So we have beginning of the week and end of the week. situations or things that we're doing. Those still fall into rituals or routines. Like a routine, I'm going to make sure that I'm doing family things, sports things. Let me just put hiking up here. It's such a priority because you got to be able to get outside and get nature in. And actually, I'm going to also add in swimming. It's a new thing that I'm falling in love with. So we have schedules, systems, rituals, routines. So there's routines that are going to have all these things like going to soccer practice, making sure we're cooking good dinner, making sure we're getting and ordering good quality meats and good quality food and growing some things. We got to be able to really just think holistically about what it is, the lifestyle that we're trying to create. So we got all those things. If I move this up a little bit higher, bear with me because I know this is a lot to take in, but we're building ultimate clarity. And it's such a great question of how do you bring all these things together? You got to build out your systems to be able to do that. So if we have our day, our morning and evening things, we have the beginning and the end of the week elements. We also need to be able to have what I call action plans. Now, an action plan is going to take all the things that you're working towards and build out little micro milestones and advancements of the things that you are going to model and create. So, what's something that you could model and create on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis? It could be the nighttime and the morning time routines with you and your kids. It could be the vacations that you plan and schedule throughout the year. It could be the birthdays and the parties and things that you are going to do and lead and help create a really great experience. You need action plans to be able to do all those things. And if you have a business or if you're running a team or if you're a leader in your company, you're going to have action plans for the people that you work with to help lead them, create maturity in the organization, and help them level up and see the potential that they can have. You got to help them get to those moments, right? So you need action plans on a daily basis. And those action plans are like, you need to create this basic thing, like give bold, ambitious plans to people and then give them to yourself and work on them and just kind of craft these things. Like, don't just sit back on them. So we got our action plans. Then at the beginning and the end of the week, when we're working through things on a weekly basis, there needs to be a ritual or a moment where you have a time to celebrate and a time to recalibrate. So let me just put celebrate slash recalibrate. Now, why is a recalibration important? Because on a weekly basis, if you're modeling a behavior that you do not like and that does not serve you or does not serve your family, then you have to pivot. You have to change. You have to shift gears. You know, it just can't be something that you take lightly. We were traveling the country looking for different places where we wanted to live. We were doing it intentionally and on purpose. And when we were staying at different Airbnbs to figure out which side of the town that we like to live and would we like the lifestyle and culture if we lived here. When we were doing that, we were literally recalibrating every couple of weeks because we were like, could we see ourselves living here? Could we see Jude going to this school? Want to grow into the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years in this area to make sure that we're supporting our family values and what we're trying to do. Like all those things matter. So you got to have a weekly touch point where you can recalibrate if something's not working. And these recalibrations, again, it's kind of like a ritual or a routine. All right. So now we're shifting. And let me know in the chat too, so far this is helpful. If you got any other questions brewing, put them in the chat. All right. So now that we have our day, I'm going to bold that, week, bold that, month, bold that. Now, what we want to start thinking is like, oh, wow, months, there's 12 months in a year. And people could argue there's 13, but there's 12 months that we have in our calendar system. And these 12 months give us the opportunity to be able to schedule 12 different times that you can have this moment and think about your age and think about how many more months and how many more 12 blocks you're going to have. And think about, okay, well, it's April 30th today. I go through April, May, June, July, August, September, October. You keep going through the entire year and think about all the milestones that you can have. And that's the first thing that I want you to be thinking about is your monthly milestones. And I'm just going to write the word milestone because I think these are great things for us to be able to have a a window or a vision of something that you're really excited about or you're looking forward to in months ahead so that you can look forward to it and be excited about that future. Maybe it's like building your first garden. Maybe it's building your first website. Maybe it's building a brand. Maybe it's getting to the Division One NCAA basketball league. Maybe it's becoming a professional basketball player or professional football player, professional base. Maybe it's becoming a professional graphic designer. Whatever it is, like let's write it down, and that's a milestone that we can put on the calendar. Be looking forward to that opportunity. We got to be able to have these no matter what your role is. Maybe it's writing a book, like it could be anything. You got to have milestones. You got to be able to write them down and put them on the calendar. Now, once you have that, we use that milestone and we create a 90-day or a 30-day backwards plan. Now, when I talk about action plans, that's the stuff you're going to be probably setting on repeat and doing every day because you know it's the right thing to do. You're living with integrity. You're living with this excellence, communication, collaboration, all the identity tricks, all the interaction tricks, all the success tricks, all the things that you know have brought you success to this day. You're going to operate those and you're going to keep doing it and you're going to be intentional about it. But then also, you're coming back into this window of time where you know that you have this goal and maybe it's 30, 60, 90 days out. But guess what? You have to be able to create backwards plan. I'm going to create it at 12. Let me just do it 12, 12. I got it right in my block. And then depending on how far out you want to go, you can create a backwards roadmap that's going to help you get to the window of time that or the opportunity that you're shooting for. So if I go back to, and let's just say we have this like little blocks of time, and I'm going to put this at 20%. And you're starting here, but you envisioned what it is that you want to create. You've already thought through, you've created that intention, you've written it down, it's somewhere on your calendar, it's somewhere in the platform, and now you have the ability to work your way back. So you're here, okay, well, what are the top 10, 12 things, or maybe even 5 things that I need to do to work towards that milestone? But if you can ask that question, what is it going to take? What can I anticipate? What could I prepare for? What are the things that I'm going to get asked? What has already been done before? And what am I repeating? You work backwards. It's called backwards planning. You're envisioning where it is you want to go, and you're envisioning all the micro steps that it's going to take to get there. So you work backwards, and then you start filling in the blocks of what it's going to take. And this is required planning. It's action planning, right? So you have this, and now as you go through and you have these sort of elements, then you go back, okay, well, now that I know what the 4 or 5 things are that I'm going to do every month to get to that bigger goal, then you come back and do the same thing for your weekly to day, like threshold. What are the things you got to do every single day? So if we had 7 blocks, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, let's go. Let me make this smaller. And I'm going to auto create that and make 2 pixels. There we go. All right. So now the things that I'm doing every week and every day, I get to start thinking about how do I fill my blocks if I'm going from, let me go to 10% again, just so you can see what we're trying to do here. So if you have this 7 days out of the week, what are you doing to work it down and break it down even more? So you have your breakdown from day 7, day 6, day 5, and you can just put in what are those little micro things that you do. And then you have your day. So if you were to literally put your day inside of a box and think about, okay, well, what am I going to do to make sure that I have the most amazing day today? The most spectacular day. I'm going to put a lot of care and a lot of attention into it, and I'm going to show up today the best that I can show up. I'm going to be my best self today. What is that going to look like? Well, it's going to first make sure that you have a high dose of clarity about how you're going to win your life. Like, what's most important? What are your purpose? What are your priorities? What are the opportunities, the identity, the interactions, the success? You have a very clear picture. Now, obviously, you could ask yourself so many other questions. You could look at clarity in a completely different way. But if you just do the basics, which these are the basics, you write them down, you list them out, Then you go through a day, your weeks, and your months. Then you start getting confident about how you can grow, you can learn, and be traditionally a lifelong learner. So then you got these months, these milestones, and then you start to compound. So when we start compounding, this is where it gets to be so much fun seeing your growth and seeing how you develop. So we have 12 of these a year, and then we're starting to build out what we would call like a battle board of all the things that we're going to do over the year. We're going to train on those things, and then we're going to just have these really incredible years. So if I look at the years and the adventures and the places that we've gone, at least in my family, and we're thinking about this, I look back and I'm like, well, Jude's 16 now. I have a 16-year-old son. I've been able to travel the world and meet people and experience things and go on incredible hikes and camping trips and RV trips. Would I have actually been able to do that if I didn't plan any of it or schedule any of it? And I just don't think I would have done. I would have probably stayed in one place and just done the same thing and only been exposed to what was around me. But the power of these abilities and these tools right now is they're going to amplify your abilities. So if you can get really strong internal guidance systems, which you have incredible intuition built into you. You have incredible ability to learn anything. You have limitless potential. So if you can take all that energy and start aiming it a little bit better throughout your days, aiming a little bit better for how you're going to show up for your family and kids and yourself, you can start having spectacular memories and years of growth. And then this is going to add up. It's just going to keep adding up, depending on wherever you're at in your career and your age, you know, it's exciting, right? So we have these foundations. We've already built some foundation. This is the big six. But guess what? After you do all this, you're going to be able to start building and compounding the systems and schedules and everything else around this. So if we're focused on clarity right now, this is a very important topic, right? We still have 12 more to go. Now, don't get overwhelmed. You're high performers and you're going to grow and learn these things that's going to help you kind of build a strong foundation. If we can have clarity, right, then we can have these other systems. We can start building it out. Clarity is probably the toughest thing. But then next week, we're going to focus on something that will kind of give you more of those monthly milestones if you don't already have them. I'm going to push you a little bit to start thinking through, and we can use the last like 16 minutes of the session or 15 minutes of the session to do more brainstorming for you. You can start putting some questions in the chat. We can start doing some brainstorming to help lead in to this week's homework. So obviously, if you were participating in the session and doing some things yourself and writing notes yourself, you already did your homework. That's the homework, doing the work. The second thing that we'll be doing and preparing for next Thursday is learning about goals. Goals are so vital to giving you vision, to giving you ambition, to working through. And we're going to focus on 4 key categories for goals: passion, project, career, and personal. Passion goals. I love, 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 love sports. My passion is to just get more involved in sports across all industries and be a influential support for athletes who want to learn and grow, but also like build these next level UX ecosystems. So I'm here to support, I'm here to help you grow any business, any idea that you're trying to create. That's like a huge passion of mine. Projects, I'm currently interviewing and talking to a lot of different companies about what it is they're looking for and seeing if there's any fits to be able to help go accelerate and contribute to other industries and companies. So I'm doing that too. For career, after a 5-year stint with Growth Day, now my career it's kind of like in this transition stage where it's like time for transformation at a higher level across the industry. And I'm excited to support and contribute there. My personal goals, like I'm trying to also, even though Jude's back at high school, I'm still trying to be like an awesome homeschooling dad, even though he's at school. Like I still want to be there for him 110% for whatever he's taking on, whatever he's doing, homeschooling, learning tech, building his video games, like getting out in the industry and learning. Those are some of my goals. I'm just documenting them with you live. So please do this in preparation for next week. You can use the platform. There's homework for each category in the learn pillar. You can do that. And let me see if there's any questions. So what's the difference between a routine and a ritual? So rituals are kind of like those moments throughout the week that a team or an individual, team, or even family can get excited about. So let's just say an evening ritual that you have is everybody comes around, maybe the TV, and you watch one show together and you laugh and you're having time together. That could be like a family ritual that you have. A routine is something that you have to do in order to know it's going to give you more success. Might be you have a workout routine, a morning routine that's for your health. You drink a lemon water in the morning. You make sure before you have a cup of coffee, you're drinking some water. Like that could be a routine that you have. Or every time you work out, you're going to listen to your favorite podcast or your favorite book. Every time you read, you're going to make sure that you're also walking 10 miles or something. Like whatever the routine is that you set. The routines are stuff that you set up for your foundational good, and the rituals are things that you are celebrating, you're excited about. Some other rituals we had in sports was like, a ritual that I had every time I go up to the baseball plate was I tap the plate. I'd have my certain stance that I would do, and then I'd be ready. That was like a ritual for me. Whenever I sit down to start a new project, a ritual for me is that I'm always going to draw and sketch and write out my ideas and my thoughts before I just jump to a computer and start typing. So that's like a ritual for me when I start a new project. Another ritual you might have is like you might have like a dessert day, or you might have a workout. I think workouts are more tied to routines. I hope you get the idea. They're different rituals. It might be like a morning stand up with a team, could be a ritual that you put in with your team to help build alignment. You could have other rituals like we'd have Wednesday workshops at Growth Day and Wednesday workshops at internal team to be able to help align all the groups. Those are examples of rituals. Rituals are vital. They help get teammates aligned on a certain initiative and thing that you're working towards. Without a ritual, it's hard to get people aligned. So you got to be able to create those rituals. Like for example, for Next Level UX, we have a ritual where on Thursdays we're doing this training. Picked a lunch hour so it's easier for people to attend, and at 9 a.m. for people out in the West Coast so they can get this training in before they start their day and get after it. So we're focused on goals. After goals, we're going to be diving into one of the things that I wish I would have learned when I was a college student, because if I would have learned how to do this, I probably would have made millions and millions of dollars. Like, because I would have learned how to not only be a product designer, but be essentially my own project manager and be my own just program leader. It's so much better and easier when you can really good at executing plans, and all the things that wrap around a good program manager are just incredible skills. I'm going to try to get my AI support and all the things that I use for AI to help me with program management, because it's just an incredible skill to be able to set and find the gaps in workflows and scheduling issues, and just to be able to help bring people together, not just your family, but bring teams together, coordinate all the different people involved in projects. That's a master skill. And when I worked with big companies, they're really good at it and you have to hire support for it. But when you don't work at a big company and you have to do those disciplines yourself, you need to learn how they operate, and action planning is going to help you do that so you can run shop. Pretty good stuff. Let me know if you have any other questions, things that have kind of popped up while we've been here jamming together. And one of the biggest friction questions that you've had all week, or even the burning question, we can dive and tackle that for the last 8 minutes. Or I'm happy to share another visual to help kind of lead you off and get you moving. All right. So, any other questions? If not, I'll show you one more visual inside of Figma. And this one's pretty cool because I think it's gonna push you. So keep the questions coming, but I'm just gonna share this again and see if I can get you moving and grooving. I got these rhythms, rituals, and habits thinking. Now, one of the things that I learned just from working with Brendan Burchard, he is the world's number one high performance coach. He built Growth Day. He's coaching billionaires. He's coaching professional athletes, performers. He's done a pretty incredible job over the last 20 years. What I learned from him is that he is a strong believer in rhythms, and he has content rhythms. He's got teaching rhythms. He believes in rhythm and flow. And one of the things that I've observed from working with him is that when you can create a rhythm in a week, like your weekly rhythm or even your daily rhythm, the flow to your day can be so delightful and so elegant, so enjoyable. When we get together and we have storms and stuff, like there was a certain flow to how he worked and a certain beat. And that inspired me because I also experienced that as well, like at LinkedIn and lynda.com and Facebook, incredibly talented people, and LinkedIn, incredibly talented people working and focusing on driving incredible impact in the things that they're doing. And one of the things that they do so well, and LinkedIn did this really well too, is they had a really good company wide rhythms, rituals, and habits. They modeled these things so well. So Ryan Rosalansky, also, who's the previous CEO of LinkedIn, sat next to him for 2 years. What I learned from him is we both got into the office pretty early, but he also had a very clear directive path of what he was doing every day. He had great intention. He had great priorities. He had great purpose. You could tell that he was enjoying what he was doing. You could tell because he was getting in there early, he was dedicated. You could also see that there was practice happening every day and every week with your teams. And it wasn't just like talking the talk, it was walking the walk. You actually modeled it and saw the work getting done. You saw the outcomes coming forward. You also were able to see these two people get really good at benchmarking, evaluating, and measuring success. And then you could see that they were playing the game, also had the ability to do adventuring and play. They were just excellent in these things. So when I look at that and I'm like, well, how do we model that? How do we model that behavior as a high performer striving for excellence? Well, first, we have to do what we just did. We did a clarity exercise. Remember that the clarity exercise isn't something that you just do it once and you're just like, okay, I'm done. You have to practice it. You have to model it. You have to make it become who you are. And that's such an powerful and important thing to do so that you are not letting others and not letting other systems direct you. Obviously, if you got a manager and you got to do what you got to do for your work, that's great. But what we need to do is the four steps above the impact that you do at your current company or the thing that you currently do. You can rise 3 to 4 levels above today, learn the systems around you, in front of you, in the company that you're going to work for in the future, or even the systems that are all surrounding you. You can learn those things, could find out where they need the leaky corners or the leaky buckets. You can find out where those leaky buckets are, and you can improve and contribute to those problems in those systems and go cook, go get to work, go make impact in your company. So I want to leave you with that today. Remember that you have so much potential, you have unlimited abilities to figure it out. And once you learn these kind of foundations, then you can start building a better path, your next level for yourself, that next level experience. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We're gonna be back next week for another session on goals. Again, I showed you a little bit of a brief about what we'll talk about, but we're going to just do the work, get after it, work on our goals together, work on our dreams together, make some impact. So hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your day. I'll see you later in the next one. So what are the leaky buckets? Let me answer that real quick. Leaky buckets are the issues in your company or in your, I mean, it could be in your family, could be in your product. A leaky bucket are the loose ends or the dead ends in your product experience. A dead end is somebody's coming into your experience and they're coming to meet you. They're trying to learn about you. They're trying to get a service that your product, your family, or whoever it has, right? If you don't know what the holes where either customers or the value is leaking out of your bucket, then you're missing out on the opportunity. So the reason why we need to know what those are. So if I come back, let me come back to my. So I come back to this chart where I'm working through these different elements of my purpose and priorities. There's going to be issues. Not everything's perfect. Not everything's even close to perfect, right? But you want to be able to find the opportunities to work through that. So if we even go to opportunities, like I was talking about, I need to have more conversations. I need to start bridging my network and expansion of my network. And I'm sure in next level UX, even this platform, every time I use it, I find a dead end or something that I need to fix. The same thing happens for all companies and all services. It's just like you don't want to have so many of them. You want to make sure that you clean house, that you're organized, that you're running professional shop, a world-class shop. That same thing happens for your family, your friends, your circles that you collaborate in, the people that you are jamming with every day and working through that. And speaking of that, I'm going to share one more screen because I know we're just at time. So if we're here, and I added this ability, which I think is kind of cool. So in the platform, you can now invite your family, or even if you have your own team, you can invite your team. You can just do it. So if I have certain people on my team, I can journal with my team. I can share things with my team. I can open up a plan with my team, and I have a couple people in there, and I can just add in items and tasks in here. And I was thinking about for my family, I want to be able to share certain things that I'm doing with my family, like Saturday Spirit, where I was finishing a proposal, I was working on next level UX, I was doing some other things. Once I'm doing that, I can just like literally share this with my friends and my family. And then I also add this other kind of fun feature where I can, let's just see where, oh yeah, so in journal, if I wrote something that like I was excited about, or I could just like share it. So let me come here and I'll click the share button. So here I have different share abilities to be able to share anything that I wrote inside my journal, these little reflections. Or if I go to my plans and I wanted to share this plan, I can like literally download it just as a TXT file, or I can go in and share the link, public or private, with somebody that I'm working with. Just like trying to make sure that you can share the value or you can download the thing. I added some more merch. So like I have a little merch and different things to wear the brand. I also fixed a couple bugs with the music. So when you're listening to a player, it doesn't take too long to load now. So you can kind of listen. These were songs that I wrote and made during some of the build years of things that I was creating. And I made it with Suno. It was super fun. But anyway, I wanted to show that to you. Some new things that are coming around. I'll have the new update for the session right here as well, like where it says last replay. This was the last week, and I'll add the other ones as well. So you guys can always come back and keep training with us. I hope that was helpful for the leaky buckets and for the clarity workshop we did today. And then also we'll be back again next week. Bring your friends and bring your teammates. Let's get after it. We'll see you guys in the next one. All right. Later.
This is the turn, this is the moment when the fear gets quiet and the vision opens. I don't wait for clarity, I move to earn it. I don't watch the future, I design a version. This is the word they never noticed. This is the way I chose to hold. I don't chase comfort, I build what matters. And I won't stop till the story's told.
I used to wonder if I was ready, if I needed permission to begin, if I needed more time, more proof, more confidence before I could step in. Then I realized readiness is built, not granted, not given, not found. It's forged in the reps, the mistakes, the nights where nobody else is around. So I learned to think in systems, learn to ask better questions, learn that clarity beats speed and intention beats obsession. UX taught me empathy, taught me patience, taught me depth, taught me how to design experiences that respect somebody's breath.
This is the turn, this is the moment when the fear gets quiet and the vision opens. I don't wait for clarity, I move to earn it. I don't watch the future, I design a version. This is the work they never noticed. This is the weight I chose to hold. I don't chase comfort, I build what matters. And I won't stop till the story's told.
There were days I doubted the path I chose, when progress felt painfully slow, when comparison whispered lies in my ear, saying maybe this
isn't your road. But creators don't quit when it's unclear. We zoom out, refocus, refine. We trust the process, we sharpen the craft. We commit to the long-term climb. This isn't just screens, this is human trust. This is making the If I stall, I realign. If the road disappears, I design the next sign. I don't need certainty, I need direction and heart. Because my momentum is born.